Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Feeling really refreshed, man. Just like feeling really renewed. Uh, we had a channeling for Saint Master Hilarion last night, and it was very, very powerful and potent. I could still feel the eminence of that energy today. So today I wanted to talk about the Primal Sutra way of surfing Eros and Thanatos. So before I plug into today's transmission, please honor the circle, your presence, your attention, your resonance here. This is what feeds the current. Every like, every comment, every share. That's not just, helping the channel grow. It's actually charging the field of Primal Sutra that we're building together. So if you want to keep catching these drops as they're forged, hit subscribe, turn on the bell icon into your personal summoning stone, okay? And stay tuned. Now we're about to talk about the two ancient titans braided into your very DNA, Eros and Thanatos. They're not just myths, okay? Not just Freud's dusty notes. These are primal codes running every heartbeat, every empire, every breakup, every masterpiece. Eros is the spark that pulls life into form, that makes you create, to connect, to touch, to risk it all for love. And Thanatos is the shadow that whispers endings, destruction, decay, not as an enemy, but as the silent sculptor, cutting away what cannot last. Now, the Greeks, they dressed them up as gods, right? Freud mapped them into the psyche. So science sees their reflection in the strong and weak forces of nature, gravity's embrace and radioactive decay's transformation. Poets and painters bled them into their art. Klimt's golden embraces, monks, haunted lovers. Schopenhauer called them blind will. Nietzsche bent them into the will to power. They are the inhale and exhale of the cosmos itself. And here's the secret: neither is good or bad. Eros without Thanatos is chaos without form. Thanatos without Eros is stillness without meaning. Together, they are the pulse of reality, the reason that flowers bloom and the reason they wilt, the reason you fall in love and the reason you grieve. Every choice you make is a tilt towards one or the other. To forgive, to build, to risk connection, that's Eros moving through you. To shut down, to self-sabotage, to burn the bridge, that's Thanatos at the wheel. Now, both are sacred and both are teachers. Okay? So mastery isn't in picking one, it's in learning to ride the tension between them like a blade dancer. It's feeling both the urge to create and the call to destroy and channeling them towards your dharma. And when you can do that, you're not just surviving, you're shaping reality at its roots. Welcome to the field where myth becomes muscle memory. The ancients knew it. Freud tried it on a lab coat. We're talking about the two primal currents inside every human being, right? The life wish and the death wish, or the death pull. Eros is that hunger to expand, right? Sex, creation, art, connection, survival, reproduction, leaving your mark in the world. That's not the libido. It's not just in the bedroom, but in everything that pulses with desire. It's what makes you paint, build, dance, speak, seduce. You can pour that charge into your flesh, or you can sublimate it into legacy. Either way, it's the current of life itself. And Thanatos is, of course, the shadow twin, the whisper of destruction, endings, and decay. It's the quiet lure towards oblivion, the craving to burn it all down. And sometimes it wears depression, reckless risk taking. Sometimes it's the ache to stop. But here's the twist: Thanatos is not evil, it is the sculptor that cuts away what cannot stay. So without it, Eros would explode endlessly, drowning in its own chaos. So Freud, in his reductionist way, tried to tie almost every human action back to sex and death. And that's where the critics hit him as too narrow, too male focused, too dismissive of individual differences. But here's a core truth buried in his oversimplification: these drives are always at play, right? They're shaping everything. It's either life force kundalini or death drive, right? So when the life wish surges, you channel it, you create love, you take risks. When the death pull stirs, you listen to what must die within you. and then kill it with precision. That's how you stay sovereign and in your own psyche. Because a man who can master both the longing to live and the readiness to die is absolutely unshakable. Eros and Thanatos, the inhale and exhale of existence, the wave that builds and the undertow that pulls you under. And most people are tossed around by these forces like driftwood in a storm, one day obsessed with creation and connection, the next they're drowning in destruction, numbness, or self-sabotage. But Primal Sutra doesn't just pick one. We don't worship the light and banish the dark like amateurs. We serve both because they aren't good and evil, they're primal voltage of being alive. And this is where Wilhelm Reich also kicks in, right? Freud saw libido as psychological, Reich's side as energetic, an actual bioelectric life force moving through your tissues. And he called it orgone, the raw cosmic Eros current in physical form. Now, it's not metaphor, it's charge. It's measurable in the skin and the pulse, the very way that your body moves. So when your orgone flows freely, Eros is alive in you. You're magnetic, you're creative, you feel fearless. Your eyes have that dangerous spark to them, and you want to build, you want to love, you want to make, you want to risk things. You don't just want to think about life, you want to feel it pressing through your veins. But here's the hidden law. Orgone that's blocked becomes Thanatos in disguise. Okay? So you don't move the charge, it just turns inwards. You implode, it rots into depression, obsession, chronic tension, aggression without aim, and you start destroying what you love because the current has nowhere else to go. This is why in psychology they say repression is poison. Every time you swallow your truth, every time you bury your desire, you're letting Thanatos win by default. Not the holy death of completion, but the slow rot of unused life force. So surfing Eros and Thanatos is the mastery of riding the charge. When Eros rises, you use it. Sex, art, building something real, deepening connection, training your body, teaching, leading. When Thanatos whispers, you don't run, you listen to it. You find out what needs to be burned, what's stale, what's trapping the current, and then you cut it out clean. And that's how you alchemize both into fuel. Eros feeds your expansion, Thanatos keeps you sharp, disciplined, and impossible to stagnate. And together they make you actually untouchable in all realms, as we would say in Primal Sutra. Because in Primal Sutra, this isn't just a philosophy, right? We actually promote you to use this understanding with your body practices too, right? Breath work to move the orgone, Reichian release to break the muscular armory, right? Erotic focus to channel desire into creation, ritual endings to feed Thanatos consciously instead of letting it eat you from the inside, right? Because most people are prisoners of these drives. We are the ones who ride them like war horses. So in Primal Sutra, we talk about the primordial yes, the pulse before your first breath, the hum in your bones that says, I am, and I will keep being. And it's not this polite thing, right? It's not waiting for the right conditions. It's that unstoppable green shoot, punching through concrete, drunk on sunlight and rain, laughing at the odds. Every culture's whispered its name in a different tongue. The yogis called it prana, a divine inhale that refuses to quit. The mystics called it the spark of God, the seed of infinite becoming. The warriors felt it in the marrow before battle, the lovers in the locked gaze before the first kiss, the artists in the trembling hand before the stroke that changes everything. So this primordial yes doesn't care about your trauma resume, your failed attempts, or your logical reasons why it won't work. Logic is just a filing cabinet. The yes is the wildfire that burns the cabinet down. It's raw, unnegotiated consent to exist fully. It's the life force saying, I will create, I will connect, I will dance my atoms into form, and until the stars themselves get jealous. You felt it when your chest cracked open in awe, when the horizon pulled you forward, and every single cell of yours said, more, please. And that's just not some serotonin or some motivation hack. That is existence itself using you to shout yes into the void. And the void shouts back, right? So life meets you in that echo chamber. The more you stand in the yes, the more the doors swing open that shouldn't be there. The more impossible allies and impossible luck fall into place. So the primordial yes is your rebellion against entropy, your refusal to go quietly, your signature on the cosmic contract saying, I'm here, I'm awake, and I'm not done yet. Feed it, live it, let it possess you until everything in your orbit is infected with the will to blossom. Let's get it today. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you all have an incredible rest of your day. All right, Independence Day is tomorrow. Okay. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna. Let's get it. Upward spiral, gang. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. Winning.